That being a citizen of the country, I didn't hear about this case. And like me, I'm sure there are so many people who don't know about this case. For me to portray Indian women emotions is very, very important to me. And I want a global audience to kind of see what we Indian women are all about. You don't have to be a mother or a father or a sister or a grandfather to be able to say that, no, you know what, I'm not a mother, so I can't feel.
Yeah.
It's not possible. Because as a boy, you're raised by your mother. If I don't feel the pressure, then I should pack my bags and sit at home. For me, my decision remains solely on how Mrs Chatterjee versus Norway fares. And then maybe if I do this film because I want this message to go to as many people as it can.
Hi guys, this is Himesh and welcome to Pinkvilla. Today we have with us Rani ma'am. Welcome to Pinkvilla ma'am. It's lovely having you here.
Thank you.
And firstly, congratulations. I think it's one of the finest performances that I have seen in the longest time. Like the first scene of the film, and it hits you so hard that you are invested in the journey. When I was watching the film, my first reaction to it was anger because, you know, how can people be so inhuman?
Correct.
What was your reaction when you heard this thing?
Ignorant as well,
Yeah.
right? So exactly what you felt while you watched the first scene of the film is exactly what I felt when Nikhil Advani called me in early 2021, very much in the midst of the pandemic, when he called me with this film offer. And he said that I'd like you to do this film. It's based on a real life story. And this is the story. And I was in disbelief. And I really thought he was lying to me. So I hung up and I started to Google the case.
Okay.
And I went through the cases and all. And what I understood and figured was that Indian media had covered this quite extensively during 2011. And what hit me was that being a citizen of the country, I didn't hear about this case. And like me, I'm sure there are so many people who don't know about this case, that it actually happened, a true story like this happened in 2011.
Yeah.
And immediately when I felt that, I realized that I needed to do this film.
Okay.
Because I wanted the story to be told and I wanted the awareness that these are things that happen with families, not only Indian families, but families of different nationalities when they're outside their own country, because there is a slight misunderstanding that happens when they do not understand our cultural beliefs, and that's when the problem starts.
Yeah, true.
So for me, it was an eye-opener myself, because when you talk of your friends and relatives who live abroad, there is never a conversation to know whether they go through any prejudice, whether they go through any kind of trials and tribulations like this.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a story about an Indian family outside of India who has faced something inhuman. And obviously being a Bengali, I connected with it even more because it was a Bengali family.
True.
And to understand that what this mother was doing with a child is something that we all Indian mothers do with our children. So it was a cause of concern for me in my head at that point. And I believe that through this film, through this story, if I can make this awareness even larger to a larger audience, it would be a victory of sorts for me.
True. And you know, ma'am, there's one scene in the second half, I think right after the entire courtroom drama happens, when the judge says that, get the kids along.
Yeah.
It's, I think, one of the most hard-hitting scenes that we have seen on the big screen.
Right.
How did you react? Like, what was the ambience on set while shooting for that particular scene?
So our entire energies were focused on making sure that the baby comes to me.
Okay.
I think the energies were more into trying to get the scene right, if I may say so.
Yes. And ma'am, you know, through the last 10 years, all your films have had, like, you know, there's, except for Bunty Bubbly, which is a comedy, all your films have had a social message.
Right.
And when now Mrs Chatterjee versus Norway is releasing, how do you cope up with the love that comes your way every time you do the film, that people are saying you're doing cinema which is talking about, you know, or attempting to bring a change?
So for me, I don't know how it's happened naturally with me, because I have also evolved as a person over the years.
Yeah.
From being Rani, just a simple girl, when I became a mother, when I had my child. So of course there was an immediate transformation that I went through, bodily as well, and also mentally, physically, and all that you can think of. So when you change as a person, when you evolve as a person, I think your priorities keep changing with time. And I think things with me have happened like that. And with God's grace and with destiny, there are certain stories that have come to me that they chose me in
Yeah.
that sense that I should be able to say the story, and they all came to me and I accepted them. That is my good fortune that my mind kind of supported me at that time to be able to recognize that the film has this potential. And yeah, and I connected with it so much that I agreed to do it. Like in case, in this point,
Yeah.
what fascinated me and what actually shocked me was the fact that I didn't know about the case.
Yeah.
And I realized that there would be so many people like me who would not know. And that's the reason why I also did this film.
True. When you speak about your choices, what are the factors in a script that excite you as an actor at this point of time?
I think what excites me today at this point of my career is that each time there is an important story to be told through a Indian woman's perspective.
Yeah.
You know, that is what really triggers my emotion, because I am an Indian woman myself.
Yeah.
And I have been a small child, I've been a young Indian girl, I've been a young Indian woman, I've been a married Indian woman, I'm a mother. So I think for me to portray Indian women emotions is very, very important to me. And I want a global audience to kind of see what we Indian women are all about.
Yeah.
You know, which is very, very important, because people can understand what is happening in a country through the lens of a woman. You know, a woman staying in that particular country.
Yeah.
So I think that is very important for me to like portray each time when I'm playing a character.
But is there any genre that you wish to do now? Like anything on the top of your mind?
So for me, it's never the genre. For me, it's always the storytelling and the subject and my character that excites me.
And you know, this one, Mrs Chatterjee versus Norway, is made by a female director.
Yeah.
You know, when you have worked with men, women, both when it comes to films. When you are working with a female director, is their perspective towards the female character different? Like, do they treat the character different from what a man would?
I think when you are a director, you are a director.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're a woman director or a male director.
Yeah.
Emotions are universal. Like for Mrs Chatterjee versus Norway, I feel there can be no person who can say that we didn't connect with the film, because it is a universal emotion that has to be felt by a human being. You don't have to be a mother or a father or a sister or a grandfather to be able to say that, no, you know what, I'm not a mother, so I can't feel.
Yeah.
It's not possible. Because as a boy, you are raised by your mother.
Yeah.
So how can you not understand or feel the pain of a mother in the film?
True.
You know? So I don't agree with a gender bias here. I think any person who's a human being will feel an emotion. Having said that, Ashima, who's directed Mrs Chatterjee versus Norway, she is a single mother herself. She's a single parent. And I thought that it was brave of her to be a single mom at a time when she's still trying to make it in this industry. But she went ahead and she had a child. And she's a happy single parent. What I liked about Ashima and why I agreed to do this film with her is because she connected with Sagarika in a very special way. She was the one who kind of got the subject, or she's the one who actually made this subject happen and decided to make a film on this. She pursued the case, you know. She was in touch with Sagarika. So when I saw that she was passionate about this story, about this subject, and if in Ashima's place it was a male director, and if he had the same passion for Sagarika's story, I would have still done it.
Okay.
You know? So it's not about a male or a female, it's about how passionate is the director about this particular subject or this story.
On how much they believe in it, maybe.
Yes, and how much they believe in it. And that's what makes a good director.
True. A couple of days back when there was an event where you were interacting with Karan, you said you didn't meet the family because there was a certain way in which you saw the story and you wanted to portray the character. Is that something that you follow for every film, where you avoid taking references from any person or a character?
So for Mardani, I had to meet a lot of cops. I had to meet a lot of lady officers. But it was not really based on a particular officer. You know, so I had to take certain traits from certain people. In Sagarika's case, this story was about her story. This was her entire struggle and everything. So if I tried to be her, there would be a lot of comparisons. And I didn't want that. I wanted Devika's character to be very authentic to what an audience would see. A lot of people might say that, you know, because it's a pan-India film, was it necessary to have so many Bengali lines in the film? But when you're making a film today in a global arena, you have to make it as authentic as possible. You know, it's like if you are from a certain culture, you would break into that language when you are in stress or when you're fighting, or when you want to make a personal conversation. You might speak in English and Hindi otherwise, but when you want to have a conversation with your mum or your husband or your closed ones, you know, you break into your own, you know, mother tongue. You know, and that's what we wanted to show through Mrs Chatterjee versus Norway. That's why there are 5 languages spoken in the film. There is Bengali, there's Hindi, there's Norwegian, there's English. You know, because we wanted to be as true to what the story is. And also, we've kept in mind that the Bengali is coming at places where there's only an emotional conversation happening rather than giving any new information. So, you connect with the emotion rather than the language, because a language of a mother's love is universal. A language of a mother's anger is a universal. A language of a mother's heartbreak is universal. So you wouldn't really need a language to understand, you know, because today when we see films today in different platforms, they have surpassed all boundaries of borders. There is no border-centric film. You know, today I will watch only an Indian film, or today I will watch, if a person living in South America can't say I will only watch a South American film. You know, today people are watching different films, and they're accepting different cultures, they're accepting different languages, because people are emoting with the story and emoting with the language of emotion. You know, so language is not really the key in this, you know. As long as it's authentic to the story, and it is authentic, I think that is what counts in today's filmmaking.
And I think the viewers need to know that the film has subtitles all through it, which makes it very easy to
like understand. Of course.
And you know, last couple of questions, ma'am. Have you decided on what next after this film?
No. For me, my decision remains solely on how Mrs Chatterjee versus Norway fares, and then maybe I'll give myself a little time to understand and then take my next few decisions on which films I'll do.
But you feel the pressures even now, as to how the film is going to fare, even after.
Absolutely. If I don't feel the pressure, then I should pack my bags and sit at home. Because the most important thing for an actor is to be seen by maximum people in the audience. And what does maximum people in the audience state? Box office success. You know, the more the box office means, the more people have gone to watch your film. So that matters the most to an actor. If an actor feels that, you know, it should not make a difference to them, then I think that they shouldn't be actors any longer. Because actors are not here to receive praise from just a handful of people. They want an audience to watch their film. They want an audience to, because that is what we live for. That is what we strive for. That is what we work hard for. If I do this film, I do this film because I want this message to go to as many people as it can. I want my performance to be viewed by millions of people, you know, so that they understand what I went through while making the film and what I have brought to them, you know. So yeah, it is very important.
And one last question, what has been your biggest takeaway from this film?
It's very important to stay connected to your roots. It's very important to stick by your beliefs, like how Sagarika stuck by her belief that she is going to win her children back. And no matter where she fought, whether it was Norway, whether it was India, she didn't give up. You know, so it's very important in today's day and age, even with the youngsters, you know, never give up, never let anybody tell you whether you're wrong or right. Believe in yourself and believe in what you believe is right, you know, and stick by it, and things will fall in place.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and wish you all the best for the film.
Thank you.
Thank you.